Hey, so let's talk about photographing some of your sculpture pieces. So it's just a small, light introduction to it. So photographing your sculptures. Number one, we're gonna talk about lighting, then background, camera placement, camera focus, and crop and edit. So lighting. So there's a ton of different kinds of lights. There are cool lights and warm lights. And when you're looking at a package for a light bulb, you're going to be able to see where it lies. So this is a chart that I found online that is very helpful if you want to look it up. So there are different kinds of light. Let me go ahead and move my little picture away. All right, let's see. Um, so your warm lights are going to be on this side. That's going to be like a typical like living room lamp. That's going to be a warm light. Whereas the cool side is going to be things like the daylight bulbs, the and just like natural sun that you have out there. And you can really see a difference in here. So a lot of times, like inside a house, you'll see it around this area, kind of makes it cozy. And maybe in like a gallery space, you get it closer to over here that's cooler. Your goal is to have something that's more natural sunlight. So try to use diffused sunlight, so a cloudy day, or a daylight bulb that's kind of cool to take your pictures. Now, this may not be available, and if it is not at all, just make sure it is a well lit area, and you might be able to do some photo editing to make it work for you. All right, so let's talk about a background. So, as you see here, we have a kind of plain white background. So, something that is not distracting. It does not have to be a white background, but it does need to be something plain. Like behind me, I just have green. That's something plain. But the advantage to the white is that it is a neutral color and will not interfere with the sculptures that you have. This piece, not as much. So if you look at the background, there's so much going on here that it is a little distracting and actually becomes part of the piece. Whereas this, you're fully focused on what's in the foreground. This one, it's like the foreground, kind of a little much, and then you're looking at the background, it's a little distracting. So another idea that you could do is a poster board where right around this area, like let's say you had a small piece, you could photograph your piece here, and then have some of that curve of a poster board or white piece of paper. This will ensure that like you have a gradient, like a nice background to your piece. So camera placement, if you're using your phone, how are you taking a picture? So this is what you typically would think. Taking a picture from the top, right? You're standing up, take a picture of it. But that's wrong. Because you're not going to get a very good angle. Try to get on the same level as the vase, or in this case, it's a vase, or as your piece, and take a couple different angles as well. It's okay to go above or below, but be intentional with the angle that you are holding the phone or camera. So, after you've gotten the right placement, let's talk about camera focus. So, these are two pictures with two very different focuses. The one on the left is still a pretty good picture, but having everything in focus, um, it's kind of distracting and it makes like all the different parts equally weighted. If you're able to have like a portrait setting or something on your phone, then you might be able to get a blurry background. If you're able to do that, you can have a little bit of a busier background, but it gives you that separation, which is nice. If you're not able to do this, just go for a plain background. So, cropping and editing. First thing, the most important is going to be your white balance. So, whatever's supposed to be white, is you really want it to be as white as possible. Correct that first. This will correct any of the lighting problems if it was too warm or too cool. You want to make sure you straighten everything, that your exposure is correct, and that you play around with the shadows and highlights. All right, and for the wearable art pieces, make sure someone is modeling.